So I've arrived at work. It is Thursday the 9th, I think. Yeah, the 9th of November. I've actually arrived at work like 10 minutes early. The traffic was really good. So I didn't get any writing done last night at all. By the time I actually got to sit down to write, it was pretty much time to have no screens before bed. I'm quite strict with that. So yeah, no writing at all. I'm going to try and do some today. I didn't get any done this morning, even though I'm on the late shift. Going to try and get some done when I get home. I don't even want to think about what the total word count should be by the end of today. I'm just going to ignore that. It's not going to happen, whatever it is. And yeah, but as we've got a bit of time before I have to leg it, thought I'd actually say a bit about what my story is about, why I'm doing NaNoWriMo. I have had this story in my head for about the last 7 or 8 years, and I've not done a lot with it. Not done NaNoWriMo, not really tried to write it. I have tried. I got into the first chapter and then realised that I found dialogue really hard, and I hated every single bit of dialogue that I had written, and gave up. Now I am being really strict with myself, and I say, if it's crap dialogue, it's crap dialogue. It's on the page. I'm saying what needs to be said, and I can tweak it later. That's the whole point. So my story, back when I thought about, came up with this idea, I lived in a town in the UK called Ramsgate, which is right on the East Kent coast. There's quite a lot of historical buildings in Ramsgate, and the harbour's quite famous and important. I don't know how this idea came to me, it just did. My story is set in 1780 in Ramsgate, and the daughter, 6-year-old daughter of the local nobleman, aristocrat, has been found murdered at the bottom of a cliff. The main suspect is the son of the local butcher. His name's Benjamin, and he gets arrested on suspicion of the murder, and if he gets found guilty, he will be hanged. So it's big stakes, and it goes along the lines of there's no police force in England, most of England anyway, at that time. It's local people who were voted in, very often not paid, very open to corruption, and if any member of the public wanted an investigation or to bring criminal charges against someone in court, they had to pay for it. So not many people got charged with anything. But being a nobleman, no expense is going to be spared in this investigation. But the local constable is a drunk and corrupt guy. He just sees pound signs and is probably going to just try and tie this up as quickly as possible so he can get back to the bar and have money. So Benjamin has kind of a crush on this girl called Molly, who is a bit of an outcast in Ramsgate. She's the protagonist. She's the one who we're going to follow in the story mainly. She grew up in a poorhouse. Her mother died when she was 10, leaving her and her older sister in the poorhouse. Father is not on the scene at all. He's dead, gone, doesn't matter. She is an outcast in Ramsgate. She is very forthright, very speaks her mind, doesn't believe in God, which is really weird for not only that time, but in a coastal community where lots of people are risking their lives on the sea. They tend to be quite superstitious and very religious. Saving of souls is very important in those kind of communities. And she was in service with her older sister Joanne at the same nobleman's house as the child who got murdered, but she lost her job because she couldn't keep her mouth shut when she should have. So she's actually been left destitute, and she's fallen into prostitution with a lady running her basically, and some other girls in Ramsgate. this lady has a coffee house which was gaining in popularity at that time, where traders and merchants would come and talk over coffee and other drinks. And then once night falls, the coffee house takes on a very different atmosphere, and the girls become working girls. Molly also has a bit of a crush on Benjamin, but she knows that she's the down and out in Ramsgate. She's not going to be good for anyone. She's really not confident in her life. She's had so much thrown at her. She's kind of feeling weighed under and sunk to the floor. And that's how we meet her. She's actually contemplating throwing herself off a cliff, is the very moment that the book opens, that chapter 1 starts. But she realises that her feelings for Benjamin are maybe stronger than she's let herself admit before, when his life technically hangs in the balance. So she is trying to prove his innocence. So she does her own investigation, which causes problems because, first of all, she can barely even write her own name. Her investigation gets her into trouble, which brings the coffee house into a bit more disrepute than it is. It's kind of like an unspoken thing about the coffee house that it's a brothel as well. But it kind of brings unwanted attention. So she loses her job there, and she is actually homeless and destitute and has nothing left except the possibility that maybe she can save Benjamin. And also, it's a very patriarchal society. It's men who do these things. It's men who investigate. Women are nothing in this. In this time, they don't have any place or standing. It's quite difficult for her to get anyone to listen to her. She's a former prostitute. She's barely literate, and she's a woman, is her biggest crime. So she has to try and fight against all that, put everything into that to try and save Benjamin from being hung for a crime he did not commit. I can tell you that right now. And she sometimes has to trust people that you wouldn't normally trust, so she has to decide whether she trusts the local highwayman. She gets involved, or rather than get involved, maybe becomes into knowledge about a dangerous group of smugglers. Smugglers was really big in Ramsgate at that time, and it all kind of intertwines in the end to why this little girl ended up dead at the bottom of a cliff. So that's my book. It doesn't have a title. It has a working title, which I'm not that keen on. It's called Treading Water. I don't really know what else to call it right now. I'm going to have to think about that. Yeah, that's my book. I've done a lot of research, but there's still more that I don't know. But I'm just kind of going with it. I don't have an outline. I know what needs to happen. I know, that Benjamin needs to get arrested, and so therefore if he needs to be arrested, I need to put him into a place where he could potentially come under suspicion. I need to introduce the highwaymen, I need to introduce the smugglers and what's going on with that, and I need to ensure that I've got everybody in place ready for when Molly begins her investigation. But I don't know when, like what chapter that's going to happen in or anything like that. I'm just going with the flow right now, getting words down, or not, as last night proved. I think I was kind of exhausted from the last day or so of writing. The chapter that I'm currently working on is very dialogue heavy and very kind of exposition-y. It's when the local constable and the reverend of one of the churches in Ramsgate, the body is discovered, and they have to go and inform the parents that their daughter is dead and has likely been murdered. So that's never going to be something it's easy to write about, and it's to try and keep some Georgian Regency mannerisms and without making it too bland is quite difficult. And I don't know that I've actually achieved that yet, but it's so dialogue heavy, I just kind of needed to step back from it a bit. And I'm not one of those people who can leave it and jump to another section. I have to write consecutively. Otherwise my brain doesn't know where I'm going, and I'm likely to leave a massive plot hole, which I know I could potentially pick up in the editing, but I'm always worried that I wouldn't So that's my story. I hope you like the sound of it. It's gonna drive me crazy if I don't get it out of my head. And then I've got other 3 or 4 ideas in my head for further NaNoWriMo, so hopefully I can get this one done before next NaNoWriMo, and I can do a different story then. But anyhow, I had better, it's quite a long video, so I'd better go to work, and I will see you in a couple of days probably. Bye. It is Tuesday, the 14th of November 2017, the 14th day of NaNoWriMo, and it's going okay. I am ignoring all the official word totals. It's my first Nano. I don't have to get 50,000 words. It'd be great if I did, but I don't think it's going to happen, and I don't really need to put that kind of pressure on myself on the first one. I seem to have a limit of about 700-800 words a day, apart from today. Today magic has happened. I had a day off work, so I went to Reading, which is about 20-25 miles away. Spent a fortune on parking for the day. It's £10.50, seriously. And went to a official NaNoWriMo Berkshire region write-in. There was only 2 of us, but I got 904 words done. And then tonight there's an official NaNoWriMo virtual write-in, which I'm going to do for an hour. That's at 9 o'clock GMT, so perfect timing, ready for me to turn screens off and then chill and get ready for bed before I go to sleep. So yeah, NaNoWriMo's going okay. I am currently at, look at this, I'm really happy, 11,318 words. We're going to ignore that graph that says I'm way behind where I should be. We're going to ignore that. So I'm doing this video a bit differently. I'm not doing it on my phone. I am doing this one on my DSLR camera. It seems to be going okay. We'll see what it's like when I upload it. But slight problem, I can't find my tripod, so I'm having to hold my camera, and it's kind of heavy. I've actually got it resting on my knees right now. I thought I knew where my tripod was. I don't. And I can't be bothered to really hunt for it, to be honest. So yeah, so Nano is going okay. 11,313 words, I am really happy with that. Particularly as yesterday I had to go into town, and I'm trying to get into the habit of journaling. And yesterday I journaled while I was in town, and I put a word count at the bottom, and underneath that I wrote the official Nano word count if I'd been hitting all my targets, which I haven't, apart from the first day I rocked. So I wrote a lot about what it's been like writing my story yesterday, and then I looked at my updated Nano count from the weekend. I was at 9,430 words yesterday, ignoring the fact it should have been 21,671. By the end of yesterday, I got over 10,000. I was really happy. And now today, already, I'm nearly halfway through the 11,000s. So by the time I finished writing yesterday, I was over 10,000. I hit the 10,000 mark. Then today I'm well into the 11,000s, which is great. I'm really, really happy with that. This is bearing in mind that the most I have ever written on anything before is 16,010 words, which was summer 2016 when I did my master's dissertation. So I'm actually not that far off that now. This is so much easier than that was. I can make this up. That's the main thing. Nobody cares. I can make it up as I go along. That one, not so much. But yeah, I could potentially get to that 16,000 mark by the end of this week, which is amazing, really. That in 2 weeks, or just over 2 weeks, I will have written the same amount or more that it took me 3 months to write last year. Maybe 2.5 months, I can't remember. I lived in a library there were no windows. Time passed. But anyhow, I thought I'd try and do a video on my DSLR, see how it turned out, and then I will update you tomorrow, hopefully, with how tonight's writing went. Bye.